Hello, I'm back. Bloody door.
Do my head in.
Hi everyone, I'm back for another video. I have just got to say, have I got food around my mouth? No, just a spot. I am completely overwhelmed with the amount of support that I've had on my most recent couple of videos. I was just like, guys, stop it. Like the comments, honestly, thank you so much for anyone that's messaged me or commented on, like, yeah, I'm just really overwhelmed by it, because thank you for taking the time out of your day to let me know that that you really appreciate it, because it's so nice to know that my videos are finally reaching people that really need it. But also it's quite nice to hear from people that are also going through the same thing, because when I first started out on this journey, I had no one. The amount of research that I had to do was just ridiculous. Once I found, oh, I've got pins and needles, oh my lord, oh my lord, oh my lord, oh my lord. Yeah, you know when you get pins and needles and it's like, so like while I was just talking to you then, I had pins and needles, but it was like a real numb one. So it's like, oh, I can deal with this, I can deal with this. And then it goes like really sharp. Jesus. I'm just gonna shut my door so I don't annoy my neighbours. And shut my bin. Yeah, thank you so much to everyone. Like, you have no idea how much it means to me, and to get messages on Instagram of just like these messages just saying like, I completely relate to you. It's like, oh my god, do you? As unfortunate it is, and I'm blown away that there's this many people going through this, it really saddens me. Part of me is like, no, I know I'm doing the right thing by sharing this story, because if I can just help a few girls, then that is a job well done, because this has been, it is a bloody roller coaster, that's all I can say. So I thought I would do a video. I've had loads and loads of questions about how to, like, should you exercise? How much weight have you had to get, like, how much weight do people need to gain? Should you still exercise? Should you still eat? And I just need to do a quick disclaimer. I'm really wonky, aren't I? I better? Yeah, but I'm a bit close now, isn't it? I just need to do a disclaimer that I am not a professional, and I am literally just sharing my journey. I'm hoping by the fact that I share my journey and I'm just really honest, that I will dodge all of the haters and the internet trolls, because I'm like, hold up, you can't come at someone just for sharing their journey, right? This video is my top few quick things that I started to do to start my recovery. It's like little things that you can start to do that aren't so scary, because personally for me, the research that I started to do, I read the No Period Now What book, and I was like, are you alright? Like that is not happening. And the reason why it wasn't happening was because I hadn't sorted my mind out, because in my mind, I wanted to have a period, but I didn't want to gain any weight whatsoever. I also didn't want to change any of my lifestyle. So it's like, no, like I am not doing that. So I just slowly started to do things. So I thought, if you were in maybe that situation of like, you're like, I want my period back, but I don't want to change my lifestyle, which I'm really sorry to say to you, but you will eventually have to. These are just mini things that you can do that are slowly making like little tweaks to your lifestyle, but aren't those huge like bombs in the water, if you like. It's really, really intimidating, and then you end up going backwards, because I feel like that's what I often tried to do. I'd be like, I felt like I would like go all in, and then I'd just like freak myself out, and then I'd go back like 5 steps, and I would like restrict my food even more, I would do even more exercise, and it's just quite intimidating. And when you don't have the support around you, or you don't quite know, and it's like my kind of like disordered eating, if you like, wasn't, like I've said in other videos, I wasn't diagnosed with an eating disorder, so like, and everyone around you just views you as healthy. It's really, really like, so these are a few things that I did just to start making like little tweaks to my lifestyle. The first thing I did was to slowly start increasing my calories and increasing my food. This would be through having butter on some bread, because believe it or not, I would never have butter on bread. As I was slowly starting to increase my calories, I was also slowly starting to introduce those fear foods. A little bit like, whoa mate, you had to do all of this. But unless you've kind of been in that diet mentality, it's really, really hard to get out of. I started to slowly introduce some fear foods and to enjoy my food. So if I went for breakfast with friends, I would have the toast on my poached eggs. To go out for brunch with brunch with friends and just have like eggs and bacon. And so I started to have the bread on top as well. Have a cappuccino rather than a black coffee. I would have a cream egg, or if my dad offered me a biscuit, I'm saying my dad, it's just because my dad loves biscuits. So if my dad offered me a biscuit, I would have a biscuit, and it was just like slowly starting to just introduce it, like nothing too madness. And when you like get a little bit more comfortable with that, you then just like slowly build on that, and then it gets to the stage that someone offers you a slice of pizza and you're like, yeah, and then you're like, whoa. And I won't lie, like during this recovery, sometimes you'll do something without even thinking, and then you're like, oh my god, I just did that and I didn't care. It's really, really sad, but I would eat like, I don't know, I'd eat a burger, and to be fair, my family would notice it first, and my stepmom noticed it hugely. She'd be like, Chloe, like, you just ate a burger. And sometimes I'd have to go, yeah, I know, just don't let me think about it. But other times I'd be like, oh, I know, and I didn't even think about it. And I think as well, it's like celebrating those little wins. And then another tip would be to start forcing yourself into situations that you can't control, or you can't, that would make you feel uncomfortable. So for me, that would mean if I was visiting my dad and my stepmom, that was actually quite a very uncomfortable situation for me. As much as I love going up there to see them, all my food would be cooked by my stepmom, whereas back at home I would have cooked everything myself. Whereas when you go and stay somewhere else, you have no idea. And previously I'd be like, right, Sarah, what's for dinner? And I would like calculate it. It was actually a really stressful time going to visit them, because I felt so out of control with my food, and my food was the one thing I controlled. But that's for another thing. So I started to just tell myself, you're not allowed to ask for what is for dinner. Or if I was going out for a meal with friends, I would say they would pick the restaurant, and then I'm not allowed to look online at the menu. Local pubs are a really good one because they'll never have the calories on the menu. It sounds really dramatic, but honestly, it's these little tiny things that really help. When it came to exercise, that was like a bit of a difficult one because the gym was still open at this time. So obviously, like during lockdown, it's not open. So I got into like gymnastics and doing calisthenics type stuff. So that took up so much of my time. I just saw a seagull in the window, like his reflection. And then I got into like calisthenics, and then I got into yoga. So I slowly started to just broaden my horizon of different types of workouts, and I was like, oh, I want to try that. So I wasn't constantly doing HIIT. And then the final like push for me was this lockdown thing that I was like, okay, like go to the gym, which for me, the gym has been like the biggest trigger ever. All in all, I started to swap my HIIT workouts for slightly lower intensity workouts. So strength workouts where I'm not going like all out and like trying to hit PBs. I don't really enjoy lifting weights anyway, so I was never gonna do that. I don't get the high. You know when like people really love hitting like squat PBs? I'm like, no, like how is that? No. But then I guess squat, like if something fell on you, you can maybe like squat it off. I don't know. Either way, I don't really like strength workouts. Swap like my workouts, if you like, or instead of meeting my friend for a workout in the gym, we would meet for a walk. Journaling, so asking myself really quite deep journaling questions. This would require a time out, so like of an evening after work I would do this. I would just like eat my dinner, come upstairs and just get my notebook out, and it was hard. Like, I won't lie, like journaling and like digging up all those emotions are really tough, because you also often don't want to face them. So there was a few questions that I wrote down because they were like my go-to questions that I would always go back to. One of the main questions was, why do I need to be skinny? It was, skinny was always seemed in society as better. The smaller you were, the sexier you were, the more petite, cute, complete a load of shit, but it was like, in my eyes, the smaller the better. And then that would develop into, so why is skinny always better? And it kind of like unpicked about, and I could potentially do a video about it, about my like journey. I'm really open about this whole journey. Why was skinny better? And it's like, oh well, then people find her more attractive, then people want to be their friends. And that's probably because like in school the fat people got bullied. I don't want to be the one that gets bullied, so I'll be smaller. And another question would be like, where did this journey start? So how did I get into fitness? Why did I get into fitness? And like look at that whole journey. So I would write out the whole journey of being like, okay, so this is what triggered it. I started running, then I started gym classes, then I was like, how was I feeling around that time? What size was I at that point? What was I eating at that point? And like really unpicking that journey, so you can kind of start to see like the patterns. And what I started to notice is that the times that I felt the least in control of my life were the times that I would control my food and my exercise even more. I felt like I was really out of control, maybe like in exams or going for a breakup or whatever. Those were the times that I would exercise more and control my food even more. Why do I count every calorie eaten? Why do I count every calorie burned? Why do I need to know the figures? There was loads of different questions, but just constantly asking yourself why. Thing which I've basically touched on, but just educate yourself. I would come home from work and spend the whole evening on my laptop researching amenorrhea, secondary amenorrhea, the importance of having a period, and I started to like finally put the pieces together. But I was so deep into that internet and so deep into the science studies, and all I would really have loved is just to have found a YouTube channel that just explained it. I found the No Period Now book. Now what book? I started to read Period Power, and I just really started to dive deep into female hormones. I found loads of different podcasts about it. If you just type in on the podcast app on an iPhone like No Period or Amenorrhea, there's loads that come up now, even like female hormones. I will put a link to some of my favourite below, and maybe I could do a video on like resources that I love. That's a good video. I was kind of at a loss with I had all of this knowledge, but it was no good me having the knowledge when everyone else externally and around me didn't have the knowledge. So that leads me on to my next point of speak about it. Speak about it to your family and to your friends. Inform them, show them the studies. I would like get to the stage I was just sending links to my mum just so she like to help her understand. Zoe, and then I started going to the doctor, so I had to tell work. And I opened it up to the work girls. Making your support network and the closest people you have around you aware of it, then you're not asking for them for their advice or anything like that, and you're also not asking for them to understand, you're just asking for them to be aware. So then when you do have these things, it's like they can notice it. So I would say to maybe Zoe, I would say like, you know, like every time we go out for food, I look at menu with calories and I would just voice it so then she can help me. Or I would go to like Nando's, for example, and a guy I was seeing, I like voiced it to him that like these are the thoughts. So we would go to Nando's and he was like, Chloe, have a wrap because that is what you want. And instead of me getting like the butterfly chicken and shitty side salad, he was like, just have the wrap because that's what you want. And he would like force me into it, and just by voicing it, it meant that everyone around me was able just to support. It just made that journey a little bit easier, and I'm a big believer that everything is so much easier when you're not doing it alone. And that's another reason for this video, like just so everyone knows that like you're not alone. It's really important that you become aware of how much our bodies actually need. So in that educational phase of where you're learning about your periods, you're learning about the dangers of not having a period and over-exercising and under-eating, also try to educate yourself on actually how much the body needs and the female body needs, because we need different calories at any given time of the month because our hormones fluctuate. Making sure that you're aware of actually how much our bodies need, because it's actually a lot, girls. Fuel yourself with the right amount of food. Not only does your like physique change for the better, but like you have energy, like you love your relationships, you want to go out, you talk with your hands a bit more, you're not miserable, you're enjoying life, like you're enjoying your work, and like life just becomes so much better. And then I guess there's probably a few quick fire things that you could do that I've started to do is make sure I have carbs at every single meal. I never ever train fasted. So if you don't know, fasted is when you exercise before breakfast. If you think about it, before your last meal, so say you eat dinner at like 7 o'clock and you wake up at like 7, say, and then you do an exercise, you would have not eaten for like that whole 7 hours. Our cortisol levels are quite high at that point, and you obviously haven't fueled for the past like 12 hours, say. So I would never train fasted. That's advice from Renee McGregor, the dietitian. And eat regularly throughout the day. Don't go long periods without food. An apple and peanut butter at 11 o'clock, say, or a bowl of cereal at 11 o'clock. Something as like a snack, if that makes sense. And then having a good meal. So like no salads, or have a salad but have like half a packet of rice in the salad, and then make a nice like rice salad. Do you know what I mean? Or a quinoa salad, something like that. Because for me, I was never eating salads necessarily for real low calorie. I was eating salads because I really, really enjoy them. It was just like having to like rework my salads, if you like. So now I do have like a cup of quinoa in the salad, and I'll like mix that in and do a nice dressing on top, and then I'll have like a protein sauce on top of that as well. I'm rambling again, aren't I? Prioritize sleep. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, because that can really affect your cortisol levels. Oh, and I've really reduced my caffeine, and it can really mask how you're actually feeling. If you're feeling really exhausted because you need to rest, and then you have a coffee and it masks that, then you carry on and you would exercise or whatever, you're just gonna hinder your body so much more. I also have a rest day every other day, so I used to do like just bang, whereas actually now it's like giving my body that time to just like recover. I'd actually say I've seen better results physique wise since doing that, because my body's not so like holding on to stress and holding on to water, and my digestion's not messed up and stuff. So I have been chatting for so long. I hope these tips help. If you're a serial dieter and just wanted to get a bit of normality back, then these are the things that I have done. But as I mentioned, like, this is not me going out telling you to do this. This is literally just me sharing and hoping that it might help some other people. So as usual, if you did like this video or you found something useful, please give it a thumbs up or comment. Think about maybe subscribing to my channel, because I'm going to start putting out more about these videos about food and exercise and how I found body confidence, and how I've like started to accept my body and kind of like really start to enjoy life. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you found nothing from it, please send it to a friend, because they might. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.